everyone, Blaze here, welcome back to another anime pickups video, Hiatus edition. We're going to be concentrating on Sentai Filmworks as I showed before. I have about 4 Blu-rays, and 1 DVD set. This isn't too much Sentai stuff. Obviously I did a huge haul for Sentai stuff not too long ago, the Sentai Filmworks holiday sale. I also did another Hiatus edition pickup a long time ago now, but yeah, that was full of Sentai stuff. But so yeah, I didn't end up picking up a lot of stuff in the interim between that video and the holiday sale. So, but what I did pick up is pretty cool. 2 things are pretty neat, especially the first one I'm going to be talking about. Yeah, so I picked up a series called Grimoire of Zero, which I've already watched. I really like this series. It's not the most amazing thing ever, but I had a great time with it. Really solid fantasy action. So yeah, I don't know how old this series is, like a couple of years old I think at most. I remember when this promo art was like first revealed. I think there was another version as well, and we got the first look at the white tiger dude here, mercenary, the beast fallen character, who, and I just, almost instantly I was like, oh, that looks really cool. Fantasy series with like some Bengal white tiger looking dude who's like super ripped, and then like this sort of a little character down here who's a witch. I don't know, it's pretty cool stuff. This cover's kind of weird, I do like it, but these 2 characters here are the main characters. These 2 up top are just side characters. So it's kind of weird that they get basically top billing in every way on this cover, but this is just one of the various promo artworks that were available for the series, and it's the one that Sentai Filmworks chose. So anyway, yeah, this is a 12 episode, I believe, series. Yeah, 12 episodes. Comes with an English dub, and so I watched it in a single day, pretty much. I don't think it was a single actual day, but 24-hour period. I think I ended up watching like the last 3 episodes the following day after marathoning the previous 9. Yeah, it's just a really fun series. So it takes place in this like basically giant fantasy world, a traditional fantasy fair. But in this world we get these characters that are called the Beast Fallen. So this basically like mutated gene or whatever, which means when certain women give birth, they may give birth to someone who comes out looking like a beast, and they're kind of looked down upon in society, like traditional fantasy fair in that sort of regard, I guess. And yeah, they're still part of society. They're just on the lower rungs of it, if you will. And our character we follow is just named Mercenary. I don't actually remember, but I read the synopsis just quickly to give myself a refresh before doing this video, and he's only referred to as Mercenary. So I'm pretty sure that's kind of all we get to hear for his name. I don't fully recall. But anyway, he ends up going on a mission to hunt down witches and who aren't trusted very much in society. And he ends up meeting this witch here who saves his life, I think, I'm pretty sure. And she ends up basically asking him to become her bodyguard, which is obviously a conflict of interest, but he goes along with it, and we end up going on this big fantasy adventure as they go down looking for this book called the Grimoire of Zero, which is a book that she wrote and has magic in it that could potentially destroy the world. So yeah, it's a really fun series. I really like this. The connection between the 2 main characters is a lot of fun. There's some sort of light, not really ecchi moments, but there's some sort of weird moments with the female lead with him a little bit. It's not really that big a deal, but it is there. But yeah, I really enjoyed the show a lot. I thought it was a ton of fun. If you like fantasy shows, I highly recommend this series. It's great, and it's often going pretty cheap. I mean, it seems all Sentai stuff is. At some point, if you look hard enough, you can get Sentai releases for about half their normal retail price quite easily. I think I saw the collector's edition version of this going on Amazon recently for like just $20. So yeah, this series is totally worth having in your collection. I loved it. I gave it like a 9 out of 10. I just thought, yeah, as someone who really does enjoy fantasy series, this one is just really good fun. Like, it's not the greatest in story you're ever going to hear. It's not the greatest in scope. But in terms of just solid action, fun, and really good fantasy setting with really good characters, and yeah, they're just fun to be around. The story is fairly by the numbers in places, but again, it's just fun. I really liked it, so I highly recommend Grimoire of Zero. Another series, which is certainly fantasy as well, but it also includes mecha, is a series that I mentioned in my Made in Japan video briefly that I just watched this, because this is another Tomino series, previously put out by ADV Films across 12 volumes, but then we got the Blu-ray now from Sentai Filmworks, which are obviously kind of the replacement company for ADV Films. So yeah, we have Aura Battler Dunbine. So yeah, this is the complete collection, kind of. This is their 49 episode TV series. There was a 3 episode OVA kind of follow-up to this, which, the only reason I'm bringing it up, it's not really like a direct follow-up, because this is a Tomino series, so we won't get into that, but it's not really a direct follow-up. But it was included on the Japanese Blu-ray box, so it's kind of a shame that it's not on this as an extra. It wasn't included on the old DVDs either, but it would have been nice to have it as an extra, as a subtitled extra. It's only 3 episodes, and it's pretty cool. It's got some really nice artwork in it. But anyway, the series itself. So I watched this, I think, around November, December last year, and yeah, this was my first giant robot mecha series from the early 80s that I watched for quite a while, and I enjoyed it for the most part up to a point. And so yeah, it's kind of cool because this has a completely different style to most other Sunrise mecha giant robot series, in that this is a fantasy series as well. Like, so basically you've got these main characters, they're on Earth, and they end up basically getting zipped away, if you will, zapped away through like this wormhole looking thing into this other fantasy world called Byston Well, which is in the midst of civil war, and these humans end up coming from Earth through this wormhole thing, are able to pilot these mecha, which I can't, like Dunbines, that was it, that's literally what they were called, these Dunbine like mecha robot things, much more capable. They're much more capable of doing that than a lot of the residents of Byston Well, which is just a weird thing in itself. You think, why would you make these things if the residents of Byston Well can barely use them? But that's the story, so we're going with it. So yeah, they end up coming through into this civil war, and our main character has got a weird name, Shozama. He ends up, it's only weird because it's spelled as SHOW, which isn't how you would normally spell show in Japanese, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, he's the main character. He ends up coming through, and he ends up basically arriving on the quote-unquote bad side of this civil war, on the villain side, and he eventually ends up joining a group of rebels, and the story goes from there. And yeah, it's pretty fun in a way. It's still a Tomino series, and it's still an early 80s giant robot mecha samurai series. And as I mentioned in the Made in Japan video, that means that we spend about half the episode progressing story, traveling the land, building up characters and world building and general plot stuff. And then inevitably the second half of the episode is fight, fight, fight. It does get really tiresome. Really tiresome. It really holds back the story. It makes each battle feel insignificant. There's no build up to some major battle, some major event. Like, you know when certain battles are more significant than others, but when it's in every single episode anyway, like some sort of confrontation, some sort of battle, yeah, it can get a little bit tiresome and frustrating. But it's just a quirk of these shows. They were on once a week. They were and they weren't really Saturday morning fare, I don't believe. But the certain people watching them they were there for the action, maybe more so than the story. And that's just a sign of the times of when this was made. But a curious thing about this series is that this is the other Tomino series that has a dub. I don't believe any other things that aren't Gundam from this time period. In fact, we'll just go so far as to say Sunrise Giant Robot Mecha series from the early 80s that actually has a dub. Because obviously the Gundam stuff does, at least the first series and Zeta. But yeah, I'm pretty sure nothing else ever got it. At least not, like a true uncut dub. I know some other series got butchered into other things like Voltron and Dairuga and Go Shogun and things like that. But yeah, this is a straight dub, and it's interesting. It's an okay dub. It's how I watched it. It was fine. But there was one thing that really bugged me in it, and it's kind of unfortunate timing in order to talk about this right now, but we're going to go into it. So, Vic Mignogna voices a character in this show who is basically the leader of the rebels in Byston Well, and he's been told, obviously, by the ADR director, which I think was Carl Masick, which maybe leads you to believe some of the issues that this dub does have in some ways. For some reason, he's given this really strong, or has been told to put on this really strong Irish accent, or at least an attempt at it. It's not the worst, but it's certainly not great. And it really bugs me because, obviously, as I mentioned, there are characters in this world, well, in this story, that come from Earth into Byston Well to fight. And one of those characters is revealed later on to be Irish herself. It's one of the female characters, and it turns out she's from Ireland. She does not have an Irish accent in this dub. She has a full-on American accent. There's no mention of her being an Irish American or anything like that. No, she is Irish. And she doesn't have the freaking Irish accent. It really bugs me because obviously this is a fantasy land, a fantasy world. There is no reason for freaking Vic Mignogna's character to have I think there's Northern Irish. It might just be Irish. I'm leaning towards Northern accent. And someone from the British Isles, British and Irish Isles. Yeah, like it's really stuck out to me. Because obviously I'm more used to hearing those accents, and yeah, it really stood out as something that wasn't that great. And when it was completely unnecessary, like I said, thoughts are going here, there, and everywhere. That character is from a fantasy land. No one else in this fantasy land speaks with that sort of accent. It makes no fucking sense to make one of the main characters have this often indecipherable accent because he's not doing a very good job at it. On Vic Mignogna's part, I'll give some credit. Again, controversial subject right now, but I will give some credit. He does okay with it in the sense that this is obviously him trying to. He probably does it better than I could probably do it, but it's still not a very convincing one, a convincing accent. So anyway, whatever. Yeah, and this show ends in the typical Tomino way, and I didn't really like the latter third, basically, of this series. I like the first 2/3. But there's a significant event that happens about 2/3 of the way through and carries us through to the end of the series. I thought the last third was a clusterfuck. In all honesty, I could barely follow what was going on, and it was basically down to the fact that there was half the episode was trying to build out a story and plot, and the second half would always be fight, and the rest of the series, honestly, is that last third is mainly 80%. Fight, here, there, and fucking everywhere, and it makes no sense half the time. Characters' motivations don't make a lot of sense. I couldn't really always plot people very well, and yeah, whatever, yeah. We'll stop talking about it, shall we? So yeah, or Battler Dunbine. If you are interested in classic mecha series, I still recommend it. It's really awesome that we have one, not only on Blu-ray, and a nice Blu-ray at that, but also fully dubbed, which is kind of cool. Again, it's not the greatest dub in the world, but it's not the worst either. At least certain elements of it aren't the worst. Yeah, so yeah, or Battler Dunbine. I'd recommend it to people who would obviously be interested in it anyway. But for anyone else, probably not something you want to go out of your way to get. So, okay, the next one is one that I've still not watched. A while ago, a few years ago now, I picked up No Game No Life, based on the hype and also based on the fact that the front cover is amazing. So yeah, I still not watched it though, but given that this keeps going for stupidly low prices on Amazon.com, I had to pick it up to complete the collection. So yeah, I obviously picked up No Game No Life Zero, which is the movie follow-up, which again, I think I got this for like $7 off of, off of Amazon.com. I think it might have been even cheaper in the Sentai Filmworks holiday sale, but obviously I bought it before then. But yeah, I have literally nothing to say about this because I've still not watched the TV series, so obviously I've still not watched this. I hope to enjoy it. It's highly rated. I don't know if I will enjoy it, but again, I hope to because it is highly rated. There are certain elements of it that I wonder might bug me a bit, but it does have a nice art style, and like I said, it's highly rated. So yeah, No Game No Life now complete. Okay, here's another series that is complete now, although I had it complete before, but then I ended up selling off season 1 because it came in 4 volumes, so yeah. This is my old Sentai K-On! Collection, which included the movie, and then the 2 parts to make up season 2. And as I said, I used to have the 4 Bandai volumes for season 1, but I sold those off and finally truncated it down to just the Sentai Filmworks version of season 1. So yeah, which is awesome because now the whole collection takes up the same amount of space as the old Bandai volumes did. And I'd be curious if someone can remind me of this because I don't quite remember. But I feel like this is the same disc art that was on some of the volumes, like these donut munching ones. But I also seem to recall like some cassettes, like tape cassettes might have been the disc art. I don't quite remember, so if anyone's got the Bandai volumes, I kind of like to know, just for, because I've forgotten. I could easily look it up, I guess. I just haven't done so. Do these have donuts? No, so yeah, these ones have cassettes. So yeah, I think the first season, that disc art is from a couple of the Bandai volumes. The one where they're munching through the donuts, which is far more accurate to what the show is. I guess we can talk about K-On! For a bit, because I don't think I've really ever fully gotten into it. Maybe I have. I probably have, because I would have showed these off on video at some point. But it's one of those shows that I kind of enjoyed, but it did frustrate me. I thought it got really long in the tooth, because it's supposed to be this series about these 4 girls, isn't it? Yeah, 4? 5. It is kind of 5, isn't it, at one point? Yeah, so 5 girls that make up this band, and they want to become like a famous band and go in like a band competition. But instead of doing that, they decide, hey, let's be way more boring and sit around and eat cakes and do moe shit. And that's basically what the series was, and as a result, it became super popular because, fuck, I don't know. But yeah, okay, I mean, I've got it all, so I'm just as much to blame, I guess. I mean, I enjoyed parts of it. I ended up picking it up mainly due to hype, but I have seen it all. It's okay. I feel like a lot of the time though, I just kind of wanted it to be what it kind of says it is, even though it's not. I wanted it to be the Beck show, like Beck Mongolian Chop Squad. That's kind of what I wanted it to be like, a little bit more like that anyway. And unfortunately, it's not. And I don't think we're ever going to get any more of it. There was a manga that did some like stuff with them at college, but I don't think there's really anything there. Yeah, anyway, whatever. K-On! I have it complete now. It's one of those series that I've looked at multiple times and thought, should I just sell it? And that's the truth. I really have done that, but I don't know, I'm going to keep it for now and probably forever. I probably will end up keeping it forever, but yeah. Anyway, this video has been way longer than I anticipated, so the final thing I picked up is a DVD release. I used to have the ADV volumes for this years and years ago. I don't think they were complete. I think I had all of season 2 with like the most terrible sun bleach cover on volume 2 of season 2. I definitely remember that. And then I had most of the volumes for season 1, but not all of them. Anyway, I got rid of those a long time ago, at least most of them. But yeah, I finally decided to pick up the complete collection that Sentai put out on DVD for Orphen. So yeah, this is a 2 season set that has 47 episodes and yeah, on 8 discs with a dub. Yeah, fantasy series. It's kind of supposed to be a slightly darker fantasy series, from what I understand, although the artwork doesn't really reflect that overly much, but that's what I've heard. Yeah. Series from like 1998, I think the first season came out in 99. Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s, my brain's completely melted. I hope to watch this at some point, obviously. Yeah, I picked this up on the cheap. I don't know if it's in print anymore. I think it might be, or if it isn't, there's still some around. It's a relatively nice set, and yeah, Orphen, hope to watch it eventually. My brain is just completely died a death. I don't even know what to say anymore, so yeah. I've been Blaze, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next anime pickups video.